Hey guys, this is RJ with QA and support.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Paul here from Edge, CEO and co-founder, and having a good Friday.
Yep.
It's been a hell of a week. Enjoying some of my HODL fuel, actually. So just want to give a quick shout out and thanks to the folks over at hodlcoffee.com
That's
or
right.
at hodlcoffee on Twitter for sending us some awesome coffee. And so enjoying it on this nice little Friday before we head out to Austin, actually, for the Texas Bitcoin Conference. But yes, we got a lot to kind of chat about today. People have been firing us questions over the past few days, and so happy to answer that, especially about our new release.
Yeah, we have a big announcement. 1.4 just came out. We got support for Stellar. We have Changelly added, so now we have more support for other tokens out there. Also added custom nodes. Some of you guys have been looking for that, so you'll be able to connect to your own node.
Yeah, yep, exactly. Quite a bit in there. And so one of the questions that we generally get, obviously, what's the kind of overview, what encompassed this release? Archie kind of gave a quick overview. We can go into a bit more detail. The big announcement, of course, is support for Stellar. It's the number 6 cryptocurrency by market cap, as you can see on like coincap.io by Shapeshift or CoinMarketCap. And so we were seeing a growing number of dApps actually,
Right.
utilizing Stellar for their tokens and smart contracts. Tides.network was one that I was aware of, happened to the CEO there, George Burke. And it's a project I'm excited about because it's meant to kind of distribute insurance, peer-to-peer insurance.
Interesting.
And so looking at the protocol and looking at what it would take to incorporate it, because engineering obviously is one of the biggest factors. How hard is it? The Stellar team actually has a pretty good library available that makes it a little bit easier than most average currencies to incorporate.
Right.
So that got slurped up into our code base, and right now we do support Stellar, the main Stellar asset itself, not any of the kind of side assets or like tokens the way you'd think of them. Like they're the equivalent of an ERC20 token, but on Stellar we don't yet support, but it is live.
Nice.
Yep. So go ahead and try it, use it today. Download, create a wallet. You can actually now as well, maybe we can talk about this, but alongside the support of Stellar is a way you can actually get Stellar, because our current exchange that we had prior and current partner Shapeshift, they supported a ton of different assets, but Stellar wasn't one of them.
Right.
But we added Changelly, and that now adds support for being able to convert to and from many assets into Stellar. So kind of the two go
They
very
go
well
in hand in hand. And what I like about this release is that if there's one token that's not supported, it's likely now supported because you'll be able to switch between Shapeshift and Changelly. So, for example, if you're looking to convert into Monero, it'll automatically go to Shapeshift, or if Stellar, then it will use Changelly. And it also does it in a smart way where it tries to find the best price. Maybe Paulie can give us a little bit more how that works.
Yeah, simply whenever you request a currency pair and an amount that you want to exchange, it actually sends that request over to any of the supported exchanges. Right now that is Changelly and Shapeshift, and chooses the best price available. So whoever's going to give you the most amount of the destination currency is the one that effectively will choose, and you don't really have to do anything. You just simply say what currency you want to go from, what you want to go to, and how much, and it automatically picks. Now obviously sometimes some services may not have that currency available,
Right.
and so it'll fall back to whatever service does have it available, if any of them. And so it's a nice, graceful kind of price and availability hunting that happens automatically from your phone. And you realize this doesn't use any of Edge servers.
Right.
This actually goes directly to the supported exchanges, Changelly and Shapeshift, and picks the best option for you. So we're really happy about being able to offer this. This is a kind of a first of its kind.
Yeah.
To be able to do this. We're ironing out a few kinks in that kind of selection process
Clean it
and
up a little
errors.
bit.
And clean it up a little bit, but it works great. I've been using it, so I invite you guys to give it a try and definitely send us any feedback on what you might have or suggest
Right.
in that regard.
And I think another thing most of you would probably also like is some of you know that Shapeshift is requiring KYC. So if you do choose to do an exchange and the coin is not supported, it'll automatically also go to Changelly, and they
Right.
don't require KYC. So you can still continue to use Edge like you were using it before. But if there's a token that's supported on Shapeshift, we'll bring up a pop-up within the app where you can sign up with Shapeshift so you can still continue to use them.
Right, exactly. So the current incarnation, which you can download today, it's version 1.4.0 or 1.4.2, depending on the platform you're on, will by default choose Changelly if you don't already have a Shapeshift membership activated inside of the application.
Right.
But if you try to get a currency pair that isn't supported by Changely but is supported by Shapeshift, then it will prompt you to either create an account or activate or log into the account you already have with Shapeshift. And once you do that, a token gets encrypted and saved inside of your wallet, and that actually transfers from one device to another. So if you switch your phone and you go to another phone, that Shapeshift account will still work and you don't have to log in again. It basically sends that token to the service, and you'll always be searching for prices across both exchanges. And that carries over as well if you go into any future exchange service that we might offer. On the topic of KYC and whatnot, one thing to be aware of is that even though there's no default need for an account and KYC information, with Changely, they do reserve the right to occasionally require KYC before they release funds if they detect anything that they might deem suspicious, and realize that they are a service that is doing the exchange themselves. They're not a DEX, and so they're sometimes obligated to do some aspects of checking a fund. So realize that may happen. It depends on kind of the amounts, where you're located. And so expect that you might end up having to kind of contact support with your order ID and let them know, hey, how come my funds haven't arrived? And
So is that what would happen if we were to run into that? They would see it in a pop-up, or they would have to contact Changely?
Yeah, at this point, you probably have to contact Changely. Whenever you make a transaction, you'll see in the notes of the transaction a transaction ID that you can send over to any of the supported services, whether it be Shapeshift or Changely. And so if you have any problems with the transaction, just grab that email, get that transaction ID, and send it over to them. If you have any problems, they've been pretty good about taking care of the customers. They're both very reputable sites. Just like in technology, sometimes challenges and problems happen, they arise. So we just try to take care of it as smoothly as possible.
Right.
But yeah, so those services are integrated. I did get one interesting question from one of our close followers on Twitter and on Telegram, which was, hey, why don't you incorporate a service that will give people a notification if a currency is currently unavailable, but may become available again in the future.
Or comes available again, right.
Yeah, like sometimes they run out of money, they're the holdings of that currency with the service is they're just currently low right now.
Yeah.
But it'll come back maybe in a minute, maybe an hour, maybe in a day. So why don't we create this notification service, and people can register with an email or phone number, and we'll send them a text and all of that. And I'm like, yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
It's doable. We don't like collecting personal info though.
Right.
Like as a company,
Yeah,
we really don't.
collect emails.
Yeah, if we collect an email, it's for a newsletter. It's not for use inside of the wallet. It's just to send you notification if we've got new releases and where we're going to travel and whatnot.
Right.
But my response to that is, well, the problem at hand is that you weren't able to do that transaction.
Yeah, due to
Right.
liquidity, maybe.
So let's solve that instead.
Right.
As opposed to letting you know later when you can go and try the transaction again. We'd rather onboard multiple exchanges and reduce the chance that you will get an error, that you won't be able to do that transaction, because we'll be able to find someone that is able to provide that currency pair in the amount that you want to trade.
Right. So if one exchange doesn't support it, we'll ping a different exchange, and then you'll be able to get your token or coin that you want exchanged. And we're looking to opt in to add more of those exchanges.
Yeah, exactly. We've definitely got almost like half a dozen different exchange services, but we definitely want to make sure that they're good and reputable, such as Changely. And so we're happy to have them on board, and we'll bring on ones that we deem are good quality,
Worthy.
good services that our users would be interfacing with.
Right on.
But it's an exciting feature. I think it's the first of its kind. I don't think there's any other client-side non-custodial app or wallet that will price hunt across multiple exchanges to get you the best deal for the trade that you're trying to do.
Right.
And it's both price hunt and availability hunt. Right. If they can't do it, then we fall back to someone else. So we're really excited about this.
In regards to the fees, what are Changely's fees like compared to Shapeshift?
Fees are one of the hardest questions to answer whenever you're doing a kind of a Forex conversion, right? You go to the airport and you say, well, what are your fees to convert dollars to euro? And they might say, we don't have any fees. Many of them say exactly that.
Yeah.
There are no fees. Well, then how are you making any money? Well,
Yeah.
there's the exchange rate.
Yeah, what's the catch?
Exactly. Well, there's always a catch. And so it's really hard to determine what the fees of a service specifically are, because it could be in the exchange rate difference, or it can be on an actual fee put on top of the exchange rate. So it's really hard to tell. Really, in the end, it's going to be how much, if you're trying to trade, Ether to Bitcoin Cash, it's how much Ether are you sending versus how much Bitcoin Cash are you receiving.
Right.
And so we're not seeing a huge difference there, between the two services, but that could vary based on time, like the spread might change depending on the availability for themselves, like how much liquidity they have, as well as volatility in the market,
Right.
demand by other users.
And
So,
the mining fees too, if that jumps up.
mining fees to some degree, because they
Yeah.
do fold that into their fees.
Mhm.
They say if it really costs a lot for them to process a certain type of currency, because once you say you sent them Bitcoin, but the mining fees are really high,
Yeah.
they didn't pay the mining fee for you to send them Bitcoin, but they're going to have to pay a mining fee for them to use the
Yeah,
Bitcoin.
so they gotta cover that.
They got to cover that. So
Right.
they'll include that in the process of calculating the fees and how much money you'll receive back from this conversion of Bitcoin to something else.
Right.
So all of those are factors. So, you ask the question, and this is the question we do get asked, well, what are their fees? We'd like to think that from spot, they're roughly about in that 1% range.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say exactly. And really, that spot is not a specific price.
Mhm.
When you get spot, that's the last exchange that happened on some other exchange, such as a Bitstamp.
Yeah, the most recent transaction.
It's the most recent transaction. Doesn't mean you can actually make a transaction of the size that you want to make at that price, even if you were on Bitstamp. Right? You might be making a trade that's going to move the market.
Right.
And realize that when you get a quote from one of these services, they're kind of giving you a quote for a specific amount of crypto
Mhm.
at a set price, and that's a stronger promise than trying to put an order on an order matching exchange. And plus,
Right.
you're getting it quickly too. You're not
Yeah,
doing
the
this
speed of it as well.
exactly.
Yeah.
You're not having to. I mean, think about trying to turn Bitcoin into Ethereum on an exchange from your client-side wallet. You'd have to send, wait for a few confirmations.
Mhm.
Once the Bitcoin's received, place an order, wait for the order to settle, because there's no guarantee that it settles right away. And then once it settles, send your money back out.
Right.
So in exchange for that process, these services are making that relatively instant, or at least it's one step. It's not instant. You don't quickly get the Ethereum for your Bitcoin, but
But still fast
you
enough.
you do one step, and then you wait, and then once it's done, the
Yeah.
Ethereum's in your account. You don't have to keep going back and wait and doing the next step and step 3 and step 4.
Right.
So that's the benefit of these services, and so it's a trade-off. They might cost a little more in some cases, but the convenience is much higher, and you don't put your funds at custodial risk sitting on an exchange.
Yeah, I think it's a good trade-off. It's a lot faster, safer.
Mhm.
At least that's how I feel.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
feel like the selection is really broad too.
Right.
You get a really broad selection, and potentially, like right now, people might have a great selection with, like a Binance, but
Mhm.
then a different selection with another exchange, and a different selection with another exchange. But if you wanted to aggregate that selection,
Right.
you'd effectively have to have accounts on all of them.
Yeah, and that's a lot of.
Which is kind of a lot of work.
hassle.
A lot of hassle, a lot of KYC, filling out forms, verifying information, and whatnot. And so we aim to be able to provide like that kind of broad selection across multiple different instant exchanges, all inside of one application.
Right.
Right.
And the end goal is if we get enough of these exchanges added, it'll be so easy that you can trade between all these different coins without having to go back and forth, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to go, well, which service do I use now?
Right.
You
Even
just
for like
kinda-
the niche, smaller coins too.
Yeah,
So it'll be
yep.
really useful.
Yep, exactly. So that's what we've got right now. Definitely happy to answer any questions. If you guys want to post over onto our YouTube stream or on Periscope. I think Art is watching the Periscope stream if you have any questions about that service. But definitely we've been getting quite a few questions during the week since launch yesterday,
Right.
and leading up to it from some of our ambassadors about the functionality in the future. But it's there. Go and use it. Keep an eye out. We will be adding more exchange services, of course, as well as more coins.
More coins, yep.
Going forward.
And
Yep,
hopefully
yep.
more, eventually, bank account buy
Yeah,
and sell.
yeah, definitely. There's like with these instant exchanges, and we kind of consider our integrations with exchanges twofold.
Yeah.
There are kind of two categories of them. One are the instant exchanges. They're more or less account free. They fit into that model of, I want to turn this crypto to another. But then we also incorporate exchanges that have more custom UI for things like KYC, to do order from bank accounts, like to fiat on ramp, off ramp, and those have plugins inside of our app, and people can use a service called Simplex.
Right.
And that's actually a new upgrade that went in this week as well.
Yeah, it has
we should talk about that.
XRP too.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
can now get XRP
With
directly
credit.
inside of Edge
Yep.
using
Credit card.
credit card. Yeah, exactly, which is one of the more convenient payment methods. Of course, the price, you're not going to get the 0.5%, 1%. It does cost more because of the fraud potential of credit cards, but it's currently set at about 6%. But directly from your credit card, and you can get it like probably in less than an hour. Use a
Yeah.
credit card. Usually don't use the ones from the major banks because they don't like crypto. but a credit card around the world globally, you can use European credit cards to buy XRP directly into your Edge wallet.
Right.
And so that just launched as well with the release that we pushed out this week. So definitely you don't have to buy Ethereum and then shift it into XRP. You
Yeah,
can go
we
directly
made it
to
a
XRP.
step faster.
One step faster, but it's one noticeable step faster, and also less fees because you only pay for the fee to buy with credit card. You don't also pay for the fee to shift.
Right.
So in the end, cheaper and faster, more convenient. So hats off to Simplex for actually getting that added.
Yeah.
And talking with their team, they're going to be adding quite a few more assets over the course of the next few months.
Yeah, hopefully almost all of the coins that we support.
Yeah, no, I think
eventually.
they'll probably offer that and then some.
Right.
It's in a way harder for us to support a coin than it is for them. They've got a whole powerful server that can deal with the blockchain, whereas we're trying to run on your little phone.
Yeah, so they're going to catch up, it sounds like.
Oh, plenty. Yeah, they'll catch up quick and easy. No doubt about that for sure. But I wanted to mention, so one of the big questions we constantly get, and I know your team for sure, RJ, gets this a lot.
Yeah.
And we should update our users on this because this is definitely something that's kind of impacting Edge Wallet, the application, and users that use it with respect to Monero.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
What's the big question right now? It's kind of coming out of users.
Yeah, they're not able to send.
Yeah, they're not able to
we
send.
still had the recent hard fork, so.
Correct. So we should probably we'll talk about that a little bit. I think we touched base on it last week.
Yeah, last week, right.
Touched base on it last week and kind of give a bit of an update on that. So Monero went through a hard fork. They call it the V9 hard fork. This was their ninth hard fork. And in there, they implemented bulletproofs, which make private, encrypted transactions faster, smaller, cheaper. It's an awesome technology. But at the same time, it kind of broke Edge. Right? It broke any wallet that didn't upgrade. You actually had to change code inside of the wallet. It wasn't like a block size increase type of a hard fork. It changed the transaction format. And they did it rather abruptly. One day they enabled the new transactions, and pretty much less than a day later, they made them mandatory.
Right.
So right now we're working really closely with the Monero, My Monero team
Yeah.
to work with a library that they deploy, an open source library that they deploy that we use to be able to transact with Monero. And right now there's some challenges and issues in that integration process, and the library doesn't work in some environments
Right.
the way, especially the environment that we're working in. So we're working closely, trying to move as fast as we can to get Monero up and running again. And
Yeah.
we're excited when it is, because we'll have the faster.
Yeah, so
cheaper-
once that's out, I mean, like once we get it fixed, the next update, once it's out, since it has some bulletproofs, we'll be able to send a lot faster, right, Paul?
We're hoping you'll be able to send a lot faster, and that fees will also be significantly lower. We're
Mhm.
seeing like sub 1 cent fees on the network for implementations that do support the new bulletproofs.
Right.
So overall, yeah, it should be definitely a better feel for use of Monero, which definitely has been some of the challenge. People say, yeah, it takes long to send and expensive, but that should all improve noticeably once we get this resolved. But we're working hard at it. It's not there yet.
Right.
In the meantime, you can receive Monero.
Yeah, it's still safe. You still
Yeah,
can
your keys
receive,
are there.
You have it there.
Yeah, nothing's been compromised, and you actually can use other compatible wallets if you need to get the money out. Take your seed, put it into.
Yeah.
You've tried this. I know at least My Monero.
Right.
And any other wallets? We're promoting other wallets here on our own
Yeah,
podcast.
so by Monero, if you have the seed, you can just import it there, and you'll be able to access your funds. So if you just need your funds right away,
Right.
that's one way to get it out.
Right. But in the meantime, if you're just trying to acquire some Monero because it's a cool currency and you want to hodl some Monero, you can receive it, and you can actually use Shapeshift inside of the app to shift some Bitcoin into Monero.
Yeah.
And that works for sure.
And the next one we also want to talk about is custom nodes. So we added that into our release. Some users like to connect their own nodes. It's better security. So you don't have to trust the network. You're on your own if you're on your own node.
Yep. This is a popular feature that we had in Airbits, our old app.
Yep.
And we connect to the general public Bitcoin network. Right, that's what we effectively did. And you didn't actually need Edge Airbits servers or the company to be able to transact, to receive money, to send money. But now, not only can you connect to the general network, but you can actually choose which specific nodes you connect to, and you can run your own. It does require what's called Electrum. So Electrum is a supernode implementation. It's a database that sits on top of a blockchain. So you can run an Electrum server on top of your own personal node and point Edge to talk specifically to that node. So as it's querying for transactions and money, it's only querying your node, so that increases privacy. That's probably the biggest thing. It increases privacy. In some respects, it also kind of gives you some autonomy as to, especially if this ever happened again, what implementation of the network you want to follow.
Right.
So I know this is a really, really hot topic last year during the Bitcoin to Bitcoin Cash hard fork. They wanted to know that their wallet was talking to a network that followed the rules that they wanted to follow. Like
Yeah.
I wanted Core, I wanted the Bitcoin Cash, I wanted SegWit 2x and whatnot.
SegWit 2x, I remember that
Exactly. So you can run the node that implements the rules that you care most about, and then point your wallet to that node.
Right.
And then so if you receive a transaction and it says, hey, that transaction's confirmed, well, it's based on a confirmation that your node is specifically reporting, not just the general network.
Not
as a
someone
whole.
else's node, essentially.
Not someone else's node, not a company's node. So it does provide that kind of core autonomy and ownership that a lot of people care about. So that's as well inside of this new release.
Yeah, and it's for Bitcoin and all the similar currencies like Bitcoin. So if you go into settings inside Edge, you'll see in the denominations, you'll be able to change the setting and pick your own node for it.
Yeah, this is unique because we do have kind of leverage of code. So one block of code that works for Bitcoin also works for, gosh, how do we name them all? Bitcoin Cash, Dash, Qtum,
Yeah,
Bitcoin
a
Gold,
lot of them.
Vertcoin.
All the Bitcoin-related ones,
All the
basically.
Bitcoin-related currencies, and all of them use Electrum servers as well. So pretty much any of those types of currencies, you can use your own node, run your own node, stick Electrum on top of it, and point Edge to use those nodes. And one or multiple, actually. It supports multiple. You can
Yeah, you can
punch
write
in-
a whole list of them.
put a whole list inside of the app, and it will use those nodes to talk to the network. So excited about that. It's a good feature.
Yeah.
I know we've been working hard at that, and happy to get it got into this release.
Yeah.
Cool.
Looking good.
Yep.
Let's see.
Other stuff that has kind of come across our plate. I know that we were chatting right beforehand
Yeah.
about the kind of stablecoin
Yeah, so
phenomenon
or is
of
it-
what people are talking about and what's coming up lately. And
Yeah,
there's
so the
like this-
exchanges now have like their own stablecoin that's backed by fiat, like 1-to-1,
and
then there's
Coinbase
another
and
one.
Circle launched one.
Yeah.
Right.
So what are the advantages? What's useful? What's the disadvantages on
Right.
that?
Will we support them and
Yeah.
whatnot? Well, one benefit of the way Edge works, we're one of the few wallets where we don't have to choose what token is supported inside of the wallet. You can always add any ERC20 token.
Right.
And in the future, some of the other platforms that support tokens, or what they call just assets, such as XRP, the Ripple network, and Stellar, and potentially a few others.
Maybe
all
Bit-
of them, you'll just be able to kind of add your own token or add one that's already out on the network without us having a button for it. So in the case of any ERC20 stablecoins, whether they be backed, such as Tether, right? Or if they're algorithmic, such as DAI, MakerDAO, you can
Right.
go ahead and add those already inside of the app.
Yeah.
So we won't necessarily have like a decision to be made. You don't rely on us before you can use those stablecoins.
Yeah, you always have the option.
You got the option. Now, from the viewpoint of the pros and cons, obviously, we earn and spend in fiat, and so it's kind of nice to know that the money is going to be relatively stable for what we're going to spend. But the big disadvantage, most of these stablecoins are backed.
Right.
They're not algorithmic like DAI or Koala Network. They're backed, meaning that, well, there goes a lot of the trustless nature of the kind of the industry and the currency. So you are kind of putting a significant amount of your trust for that value with another service.
Into something more centralized.
Yeah, significantly centralized an actual bank account. Now, I think you guys were talking about, you and someone else in the office were talking about a new one where it's an ERC20 token, but it's not backed by fiat.
Yeah, actually backed by Bitcoin instead of 1-to-1. So how would that work?
Yeah,
What
interesting. So,
explains
so you have a token backed by Bitcoin. I get it. It's simple. It's just like having a token backed by dollars, except that dollars, at least, let's give credit where credit's due. I don't like fiat, but dollars aren't truly digital in the sense that someone has to back it. And when you send it from one place to another, you're only sending it from one KYC account to another KYC account. So hence,
Right.
it's easy to insure. You can't digitally steal it, because if you digitally steal dollars, you're just sending it to another person's account, and you can track that person down. And that's different for crypto.
Yeah.
So now, when you now have a crypto-backed crypto, I can steal two things. I can go after two different things.
Yeah, so the Bitcoin
I
private
can go
keys
for
too.
the private keys that you have for this the Ethereum private keys for this ERC20 token, or I can go after the people that are holding the
Yeah.
Bitcoin, because that's actual Bitcoin that I can take out of a centralized exchange or service
Right.
and pull that out and send it to an anonymous address. So it feels like you just significantly increased your risk.
It just seems more risky.
It's even
playing-
more
playing it that
risky
way.
than like a Tether.
Yeah.
Tether, you got to hope that there's enough dollars in the bank account that's a bit more auditable, as well insurable. But definitely It's not something that I'd personally be very interested in, at least not from a value proposition. I could see how that's interesting from people that want to execute smart contracts that are transferring value denoted in Bitcoin.
Right.
But definitely not something that I would care to hold in my wallet. Just give me the real Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just hold the
cool.
real thing.
Hold the real thing. And that's what it was designed for, right? Eliminate the holding middleman. We got a couple minutes left.
Okay.
And so I know events are a big thing that we kind of chat about over the course of our Friday Q&A.
Yeah.
Where are we headed
so-
to, RJ?
Yeah. So today we're heading out to Austin, Texas.
Cool,
Ready
yep.
for your flight, Pa?
Yeah, our flight's actually just in about a couple hours. So we're going to be rolling semi-deep to Austin at the Texas Bitcoin Conference. So if anyone's headed over there, definitely come check us out. We're bringing a good amount of the team. And now the team's actually over here. Want them all to say hi right before we kind of check out and see you guys over in Austin. Everyone calling back here.
Can you see me?
Can everyone see us? Everyone in? Am I in? Am I in?
James is too tall.
Say hello, everybody.
We're all in. Is there a green screen?
Is there a green
Only
screen?
in Texas.
Probably not. We're missing one. We got our
Kylan.
MC, AV control
There we
over
go.
here, Kylan.
Oh,
All right, so hello everybody. We're headed out to Austin. Flight's at like what time, Jessica?
2:30.
2:30. We'll see you guys there over in a few hours. We'll try to hit the pre-parties. Jessica's got her lipstick on, so she's ready to party tonight. Hoping to win the
right.
dance competition against Decred, even though our ringer's not going. But we'll see everyone over there. We'll be there Saturday, Sunday, and so check us out. Check out the booth.
Stop by our
Thanks,
store.
guys. Stop by the store. We'll have a little store where you can actually purchase stuff in
Yay!
a
And
handful.
We'll give you some crypto to start with.
We'll give you some
Download
crypto
a
to
new
start
wallet,
with.
yeah?
Download Edge, or if you already have Edge,
Yeah.
and you can buy a few small little nugget items.
Yep.
You know, some food.
Get
Cool.
some food, drink.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We worked hard on the new release. Enjoy it and say hi to us over in Austin. Cheers.
Bye.